Good evening children. Today's class we are going to see about the lesson the establishment of company power. Content: Mercantilism and the establishment of company power. The Portuguese, the Dutch, the trade wars, from traders to rulers, the Battle of Plassey, the Battle of BUXAR, the Anglo-Mysore War, the Anglo-Maratha War, subsidiary alliances, the doctrine of lapse, administration under the East India Company. Mercantilism and the establishment of company power. Goods from the East, such as silks and porcelain from China, and fine cotton, spices, and jewelry from India, were in heavy demand in countries of the West. In 1498 CE, Vasco da Gama, a Portuguese explorer, discovered a direct sea route from by Europe to India. Soon, trading companies began to be formed in different European countries to take advantage of the rich opportunities for profit that existed in trade with the East. With this intent, a small group of English merchants formed the East India Company (EEIC) in 1600 in England. Queen Elizabeth I of England granted them monopoly over trade in the East in exchange for a share of the profit. This meant that no other English company would trade with the East. Elimination of competition was one of the main aims of countries that followed the policy of mercantilism. The Portuguese, the first European to arrive in India and set up the trading post, were the Portuguese. They set up the trading settlements along the coast in Calicut, Cochin, Goa, Daman, Diu, and Salsette. The enormous potential of profits in trade with India soon attached the Dutch and subsequently the British and the French to India. The Dutch East India Company was formed in 1602 with the purpose of lucrative trade in spices with India and the East. They established factories in Surat and Cochin. They exported textile, silk cotton, and opium from India. The trade wars. The British and the French had a long history of rivalry in Europe, which continued in India as they both tried to establish colonies here. Between 1746 and 1763, the two powers fought 3 wars here for gaining supremacy in India. Since the first clash between them took place in the Carnatic region, these wars are also known as the Carnatic Wars. The British were under the command of Robert Clive, while Joseph Dupleix led the French. The ruler of Hyderabad, Carnatic, and Mysore were in constant conflict with each other. The French and the British took advantage of this situation and allied themselves with rival factions. The French suffered a setback in all the 3 wars and were allowed to retain only 2 trading posts in Pondicherry and Chandernagore. However, they were not allowed to fortify these places. From trade to rulers, we saw that the British arrived in India as traders, and they were soon amassing more wealth than they had ever imagined. But the immense wealth of the land and their victories over the other European trading companies made them greedy for more. They now shout to colonize India. From traders to rulers, the declined Mughal Empire, the lack of strong central leadership, and the rivalry between the regional kingdoms of India created a suitable situation for them. They devised three principal methods to colonize India and establish unrivaled mastery over the land. These methods were direct warfare, subsidiary alliance, and doctrine of lapse. The Battle of Plassey. Robert Clive, the commander of the British troops, soon managed to recapture Fort William in 1757. To consolidate British power further, Clive entered into a conspiracy with Miss Jaffer, with commander-in-chief of the Nawab's army. When Clive and Siraj-ud-Dowlah meet in the Battle of Plassey in 1757, Muzaffar abandoned Siraj-ud-Dowlah, who was then forced to flee. The Battle of Plassey. The British won the battle and Muzaffar was made the Nawab of Bengal. The Battle of Plassey paved the way for the establishment of British rule in India. Clive was made the governor of Bengal, while the Nawabs of Bengal became mere puppets in the hands of the British. The Battle of BUXAR, 1764. Mir Qasim sought the help of the Mughal Emperor Shah Alam II and the Nawab of Oudh, Siraj-ud-Dowlah. They combined armies fought the British in the Battle of BUXAR. However, they were defeated by the British under Clive and forced to sign the Treaty of Allahabad, by which Shah Alam II granted EIC the Divani of Bengal, Bihar and Orissa. Dual or double government. This gave the British the right to collect revenue and administer civil justice. In these, Mir Jafar was put back on the throne. Although he was made responsible for the administration of the province, the right to collect revenue remained with the British. This was known as the dual system of government. Anglo-Mysore Wars, 1766 to 1799. The English East India Company faced the strongest resistance from the rulers of Mysore, Hyder Ali, followed by his son Tipu Sultan. To gain control over the kingdom of Mysore, the British fought 4 battles between 1766 and 1799. Hyder Ali died in 1782 after fighting 2 wars. His son Tipu Sultan valiantly continued the fight but was defeated by the British at Srirangapattam in the 4th Anglo-Mysore War, 1799. Tipu died defending his kingdom, and the British were able to gain control over the state of Mysore. The Anglo-Maratha Wars, 1775 to 1813. Though the power of the Marathas had declined greatly after the Third Battle of Panipat, they were still the most powerful rulers in India. Interference by the British in the internal matters of the Marathas resulted in the 3 Anglo-Maratha Wars fought between 1775 to 1818. The disunity among the Maratha chiefs enabled the British to inflict a crushing defeat on the Marathas. At the end of the 3 wars, the post of the Maratha Peshwa was abolished and large parts of the Maratha kingdom were annexed. Subsidiary alliances. Indian rulers who accepted the system had to maintain British troops in their states. If they were unable to do so, their territory was ceded to the British. The troops, in turn, would protect the ruler against attacks from other states and internal disturbances. The Indian rulers, on their part, could not fight war, sign treaties, or maintain diplomatic relationship with other Indian states and foreign powers without the consent of the British. A British officer called a resident was stationed at the court of the ruler. Some of the states that joined this alliance were Oudh and Hyderabad, the Maratha states, most of the Rajput states, Cochin, Travancore, and Mysore. The British benefited from such an alliance as they could maintain a large army at the expense of the local rulers. Administration under the East India Company. As territories under British control increased, the EEIC found it increasingly difficult to manage them. So, with the guidance of the British government, certain administrative policies were adopted which had two main aims: maintaining and strengthening their hold in India and maximizing profits. Accordingly, four agencies were created: the civil service, the army, the police, and the judiciary. Thank you.